It is crazy to think that this year is already 25 weeks by and we are in June. I think part of that is because the weather here in Rhode Island has been pretty shitty. But that being said, I think I had a pretty good week. This is still, I think, considered a deload. And one of the things that I always kind of fear going into a new training cycle is always the inevitable volume type week. So not necessarily a ton of volume in each session, although these sets of 8s, for example, end up adding up. But just overall, throughout the course of the week and throughout the course of the month, the training volume is there, and it's definitely daunting because it just reminds me of how out of shape I am. But I think I really enjoy some of these training weeks the best, only because since the volume is higher and the weight's a little bit lower, it's more akin to like a hypertrophy type training, which I haven't done in a long time. And I'm always kind of sore to start off a new cycle, but it's not sore in a bad way. It's like, when you've done a lot of good work, you feel good. That's the kind of feeling I have right now. And the weight's not heavy enough where it's really kicking my ass so much that I don't want to lift like I sometimes get in the habit of doing towards the end of these training cycles when it's more focused on intensity. It's really interesting adding in the safety bar squats again. I haven't done them in a long time and they felt really awkward, but I am glad to add them back in because I'd like to add in some of the stuff that I spent money on, like the safety squat bar. Although I haven't really used that deadlift bar that I had for probably about 6 months. I think I've used it like 3 times. One of the things I want to also focus on, like I mentioned in the last video, on some of these deadlifts, since I'm pulling probably 2, maybe 3 times a week in some instances, hopefully not too often, pulling 3 times per week, is again just that setup. And I think I'm more comfortable now just kind of setting my back. One of the things that I talked in depth about with Ben Rice when I was in Seattle last time is on some of my pulls, he was telling me I was just rushing things way too much and I wasn't really setting my back enough. And I know that I have a tendency not to do this anyways, but it really kind of exasperates how bad my back rounding can get if I don't try to forcefully tighten myself up. So on some of those reps, I was just kind of resetting each time. And I think on the lighter days of my deadlifting week, I'll probably continue to do that. Another new interesting thing are these sumo deadlifts. So I have no one to blame for this but myself because I asked about doing it, and it's just because after a meet my lower back always feels super beat up. It's not very bad during the training block, but after a meet, especially when I'm going for a 1 rep max, it feels awful. So I've asked Bryce to kind of add these in, and I think our plan is to add them in as an assistance movement and kind of go slow and steady with them, just because a lot of my muscles in my lower half probably aren't accustomed to dealing with that kind of weight. So it'd be interesting. They felt pretty good. I know they look like shit, and it's just going to take me a while to kind of get used to them. And I'm going to really try to take the approach that I've taken with other lifts, which is kind of just do what feels best and not really worry too much what it looks like just yet. So we'll try to refine that as time goes by. Moving on to the second half of the week, not much to say here. Again, everything felt good. Kind of upping the weights a little bit here, continuing to squat in these flat-soled shoes, which I like a lot. Also busted out the Superstar knee sleeves. They remind me of old school Randy Savage, Macho Man, but they look good, so they make me feel good. And very weird lifter when it comes to that. But these sets of 5 went really well, and I was happy about that. And speaking about things going really well, even though we've really started to up the weight on the bench some, as my shoulder and my AC joint issue, which plagued me for probably a year, is no really longer a factor. We've really been upping the intensity, but we're still benching 4 times per week, and bench has just been feeling super awesome. So I'm really excited because I'm hoping that next time I test out, I'll be able to break my all-time meet PR, which is around 340 pounds. Finishing off this last day, I had a top set of 5 here with 496. I felt like I could do these all day. So I think that earlier session in the week with really kind of focusing on getting tight in the bottom of the hole really paid off for these sets. And again, finishing off with some more bench. All of these probably moved RPE 6. So that's really exciting. And I'm looking forward to next week as the weights start to creep up. Hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll check in with you soon.